Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing my bookshelf tour. I posted a video a couple weeks ago on my Instagram stories, and my friend Jenna on Instagram asked if I had a bookshelf tour on YouTube yet, and I said nope, but that is a great idea. And so that's what we're going to do today. I am missing a few books. I've loaned, sorry, the light from my Alice in Wonderland thing keeps going on. I loaned 3 to a friend and 1 to my mom. So we are missing 4 books. Most of them are from series. So yes, I will make note of them when we get there. And this is our primary shelves. I will show you our other shelves, but I'm not going to tour those ones, mostly because then this video would be an hour if I toured all of them. And so yeah, but this is the primary. Like, these are the books I'm pulling from when I'm looking for something to read. For the most part, these are the books my husband is pulling from when he's looking for something to read. So this really is like the primary bookshelf. So we'll do the secondary bookshelves now. Let's just do that. Okay, so we're gonna start in the back hallway. The lighting back here is atrocious, so go with me. So this is, I guess, shelf number 1. And these are mostly my husband's books. It's a lot of sci-fi, classic sci-fi, a lot of classic fantasy, a lot of, I don't want to say boy books, but kind of boy books. And then like my Alana books are back here. And then the lighting is possibly even worse for shelf number 2. But these, again, mostly my husband's books. So he's a big Preston and Child fan. He's a big Stephen King fan. My Deanna Raybourn backlist is back here. Some of my classics are back here. Some of my childhood books are back here. And then that whole bottom shelf is all Stephen King. And more of my husband's like classic sci-fi is back here. And then bookshelf number 3 is the kids bookshelf. Though sometimes I do pull from this. So mostly the top row is middle grade chapter books. We have a few early reader books. Like we still have our Princess in Black collection just because I'm reluctant to get rid of it, even though nobody reads the Princess in Black anymore. And then the other 3 rows are pretty much all graphic novels. And the kids do have each like their own individual bookcases in their room, but I'm not going to show those because that's, their private space. Okay, and that brings us back to the main bookshelves. These are currently organized by genre, but I don't alphabetize them. In June, I will probably switch everything over to rainbow because that's usually what I do. I make it a rainbow thing during the summer for like June, July, and August. Partially because I think rainbow is really pretty, but it is hard to find books sometimes, especially when I'm looking for the next book in a series and I can't quite remember what color it is. But I also like having that routine because it gives me 2 times a year where I can be really intentional about looking at all the things that I have and deciding what I'm still wanting to keep on my shelf and what I could unhaul. But I'm not ready to do that yet, so it's still pretty organized. So the top row, let's see if I can get you up there. So the top row stays rainbowed all year. Now that you have a visual and you can see, there's one Jim Butcher, the rest is on the other side. We have some Christina Henry, my copy of Malice, my copy of Ulysses, some Philip Pullman, All the Light We Cannot See, a lot of Jasper Fforde, and then just some books that I guess our literary fiction books are all on that top shelf. All right, so we're gonna start off in nonfiction. I'm the nonfiction reader in our house, so these are all pretty set to my taste of nonfiction. I'm not gonna take you through step by step of like all the books I have, but I will do maybe some shout outs of like favorite nonfiction of the ones that I've read. I really love Ace by Angela Chen. Like if you don't know anything about asexuality or what that means or what the spectrum is like this is a really great primer for what it means to be asexual. It's really easy to read. It's one of those nonfictions that don't read like nonfiction, and I I think it should be required reading for everyone, because even if you are ace, at some point you are going to talk to somebody who is ace. And so it's just good to have like a base knowledge of what that identity means for people. My other favorite that's not here, because I loaned it to my friend, is Stolen Focus by Johann. Oh no, I forgot his last name. But anyways, it's about how the internet is breaking our brains, and I just think it's so smart and so insightful, and I learned so much from it. Oh no, are we tilting? We're tilting. Why didn't y'all tell me that you were tilted? How rude. You're supposed to tell me these things. Okay, and then I do have, nonfiction does spread over into here. So, I really loved the library book when I read it. I haven't read it for a really long time, so I don't know if I would still love it as much. Stamped from the Beginning is awesome. I haven't read Virgin yet, and I am really excited to, because it's just like the history of virginity as a construct. Like, ugh, I can't wait. I did start this one though, so I do know that it leans fairly academic, so that is going to be like a big brain book. Not a pea-sized brain book. And then over on the second bookshelf of this 3-stack, we have more of my nonfiction. I have a lot of Disney books. I went through a very like fascinated by Disney history phase, though I haven't read The Disney Revolt yet, and this is about when the Disney artists unionized. I really want to read this because I think this would be really interesting, especially with all the things going on with like Starbucks unionizing in the last year, and just a bunch of, you know, I think it's going to be a topical book. And then we go into horror because, you know, why not? And I actually think I've read almost all of our horror. I've read most of the horror. I haven't read Only Good Indians yet, and I haven't read Tender is the Flesh yet, but I really want to. I'm just kind of nervous that it's going to make me feel sick to my stomach. And then I still need to read Her Body and Other Choices and Hell Followed With Us, and The Night of the Mannequin, and I don't know how to say this one. These are my husband's books. And I don't know. I know he's read this one. I don't think he's read this one yet. And then we start sci-fi, but sci-fi continues down, and I'm going to go all the way across. So my Murderbot collection is right here, of course. I love Murderbot, and my little Full Metal Alchemist Funko Pop is there, as well as Hawkeye. If you know, you know. Moving across, we have, move the plant out of the way. We have my husband's Neil Gaiman stack. He is a big Neil Gaiman fan, and I actually hadn't read any Neil Gaiman until we started dating approximately 50 million years ago. And then this is kind of like my weird pile, my weird shelf. This is all the stuff where I didn't really know where else to put it. So it's like my classics. I have the Odyssey, oh, which you can't see. There you go. So I have the Odyssey, which I read last summer and enjoyed might be the wrong word, but I got a lot out of it. And then, of course, my Jane Austen, my Charlotte Bronte, a lot of them. I've read Middlemarch. I have read Elizabeth Gaskell, but I haven't read these two. I actually don't own my favorite Elizabeth Gaskell, which is, I should probably do something about it. And then some historical romance that isn't mass market, so it doesn't have a place. And then like just fiction that I didn't know where to put it. These two didn't feel like they had enough magic in them for me to put them in with fantasy, if that makes sense. And then we of course have our like collection of pride flags that we keep in my little book pot that I have from Illumicrate. I think we have almost the whole spectrum represented in there. Okay, and now we have, which is probably my like favorite shelf, just display wise. I have my TBR jar that I use for picking which books off of my shelf I'm gonna read. My Locked Tomb books, which is my favorite series of all time. I have this really pretty edition of Princess Bride that my sister gave me, I think for Christmas a number of years ago. And oh, look at that. I started reading it at one point. I've read it before. I started reading the pretty version. Let's see here if I can find you a picture. So the artwork in this is just absolutely stunning. I love this book. It's so pretty. I should probably sit down and read it at some point, but it's also, I don't know if you can tell from looking at the art, but it is a heavy book. They used good paper and good ink. So as you can probably guess, this is a fantasy shelf. We have some favorites. We have some books I could probably unhaul. Like I could probably unhaul The Coldest Touch by Isabel Sterling, because while I did really, really like it, it's a YA vampire story about a girl who, when she touches people, she sees how they're gonna die, and then she falls in love with a vampire, which is great because, you know, she's already dead, so she can't see how she's gonna die. So while I did really like this, probably honestly not a book that I'm gonna reread, so I don't know that it really needs to have space on my shelf, but you know, it's also weird that I have it in between the Hannah Witten books. Okay, and then I have my two favorite Hannah Witten books. I really love The Foxglove King when I read it last year, and I should probably read the sequel because that just came out. And I loved For the Wolf, but I hated For the Throne, so I unhauled For the Throne and I just have For the Wolf now. This Freya Marsk series is also one of my favorite historical fantasy series. I haven't finished it yet. I still have to read A Power and Bound, but I really loved A Marvelous Light, and I liked A Restless Truth a lot. And then The Magic of the Law series, The Poppy War, which I am afraid to read. And then I have two novellas from Hemlock Press. And then Patricia C. Reedy was one of my favorite authors as a child, and so I have some of her books kind of scattered all over the place, but this is a collection of short stories, and then this is a Snow White and Rose Red retelling that I really loved as a kid. Moving on to sci-fi. This little bin I got from an Illumicrate box, and this is just where I keep my library books that I have checked out. I currently have Our Violent Ends, which I really need to read because I've had it checked out for a while, and A Tempest of Tea, which I'm actually going to take back because I placed a hold on the audio, and it's going to take a while for that to come in, so I'm going to return this while I wait for the audio, and then I'll check it out again. So I have the Protectorate series, which I only have book 1 and 2. I should probably get book 3 so I can finish it. The Lady Astronaut series, which I really love. This is my husband's book. I'm probably not going to read it because I didn't have a great experience with this author's debut. John Scalzi, who we're both just starting to get into. And then Polaris Rising. I don't know what the series is actually called. But whatever this series is actually called by Jessie Mahalik is like my favorite sci-fi romance series ever. It's so good. It's like, it gives me like Chronicle of Riddick vibes, but with romance. And it's a real good time. And then I keep my bookmarks out here, which I actually just went through and like cleaned it out. So while there are still a crap ton of bookmarks, it's not as many as it was like a week ago. So, you know, progress. And hopefully you don't have genre whiplash too bad yet. This shelf is romance. Yes, romance. So a lot of YA romance, some adult, like obviously Butcher and Blackbird is not YA. The start of this is. And then I have the my Talia Hibbert books, some Lucy Parker, some Maisie Eddings. Like these are really, I'm getting so picky about my romances now that I'm really only picking the ones, keeping the ones that I really, really, really love. And these ones have all, well, I haven't read this one yet, but these ones have all made the cut and I haven't read for her consideration yet. And then we have like the Alice Oseman corner. These were in these little octopi were in the kids' stockings for Christmas this year, and then my oldest made a little bee friend for them to have. But my twins and I are big Alice Oseman and Heartstopper fans, and I'm missing Loveless because I think my middle kid is reading it right now. And we're back to fantasy. Okay, now we're getting into a lot of books that I haven't read yet. So I haven't read Magic Steeped in Poison yet, but Saint Death's Daughter by C.S.E. Cooney was one of my favorite books that I read last year. It's so quirky and kind of impossible to do synopsis for, but the setup is, what if a necromancer was actually physically allergic to violence and death? And it was a fun, quirky time. I really liked it. I still have not read this Zoraida Cordova duology yet. I don't know what's the matter with me. I've had it for so long. I just need to read them. I've loved everything else she's written. I don't know why I won't read these. And then my Paper Magician trilogy, which, God, I was obsessed with this series. And with Charlie N. Holmberg in general, years ago. And I don't know if I still am. I should probably reread these. And then we have the Spinning Hill Cycle, Legends and Lattes. Obviously, this is the UK cover, which I just love. The chalkboard style art. I think it's so pretty. And it does have the original cover on the end papers, so I still get that art, even though I really love this one. You'll notice I don't really separate my YA fantasy from the adult fantasy, and I just, while middle grade is separated, my twins are just at an age where they're starting to branch out from, well, I think they've both left middle grade behind firmly, but they're starting to dip their toes into adult books as well, depending on the content, and it just didn't make sense to separate it out, so it's just all kind of mixed in. I haven't read like this. I have read Cemetery Boys. I haven't read The Maleficent 7 yet, and I'm actually debating on hauling it without trying it because I haven't heard good things, and I haven't read these ones. And then we have my Alice Book Nook, which the batteries died on the light. So if you ever make one of these things, just FYI, the battery dies pretty quick. And then Amina, which I absolutely love, and Lore Olympus. I do have every single book S.A. Chakraborty has published, but I have most of them in the bedroom, which is where I keep like my absolute favorites. I should put Amina over there, but I don't know, the bookshelf's getting crowded. All right, now we're back over into sci-fi. Again, it's kind of a mixed bag on whether I have read it or not. This is my Illumicrate copy of Red Scholar's Wake. I think this is beautiful. Absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, I did not love the book as much as I love the design, but this author is one of those authors where I know I'm going to find a book of hers that I will 100% love. I just haven't found it yet, but I'm still reading her work because I know I'll find it someday. And then I have River Solomon, whom I'm a big fan of. I haven't read Sorrowland yet, but I have read An Unkindness of Ghosts. This takes place on a spaceship that has very rigid class and race hierarchy, and the main character is autistic, and I really loved it. Haven't read The Outside yet, but I really want to because I think I'll love it. My husband has told me I will love it. Love The Luminous Dead. This was like one of the first horror books I read after I got obsessed with My Heart is a Chainsaw, and it's very like claustrophobic cave horror. So good. 3 Body Problem is aspirational. We'll see. Oh, this is another really fun science fiction trilogy, The Chilling Effect by Valerie Valdez. This is great, like fun, action-packed. My husband has said that if you are a gamer, there are a ton of gaming references and specific game Easter eggs throughout the whole trilogy. They all went over my head, but my husband was thoroughly delighted by all of them. And then we have my Heroine Complex series, which starts with Heroine Complex. This series takes place in an alternate San Francisco where there was an earthquake, and now these regular people have superpowers, and there's a romance in each book, and it's just such a fun series. I really love it. I wish more people would read it because I don't feel like a lot of people do. But this book, we follow Evie, whose best friend Aveda is like the superhero heroine of San Francisco, and then Evie has known she's had powers for a while, but like comes into her powers, I guess, and so then like Aveda feels threatened by like that her friend is gonna take her thunder. Anyways, they're really fun. The romance in this one especially is perfection. I don't think the romances in the other ones live up to this one, but the romance in this is great. Okay, this is another weird shelf. We have King George, and then we have spillover of romance, graphic novels, and then mysteries, which is mostly historical mystery series. So we have my whole Death Below Stairs series, except for the most recent one, which is loaned out to my mom. The Anonymous Wife series, what's this called? The Lady Darby series? Is that what it's called? I've only read the first book, and it was years ago, and I loved it, and I don't know why I haven't continued with the series. I also don't have them in any kind of order, because this is book 2, And then I think this is like book 5 and book 6 or something like that. Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. I do have the rest of the series, but it's in my bedroom. Also, the rest of the series I own in hardcover. And unfortunately, there's not a hardcover with this cover on it. And then my beloved Lady Sherlock series, which is just my favorite of all time. This is a gender-bent Sherlock retelling where Sherlock Holmes is Charlotte Holmes, who masquerades as Sherlock, in order to get shit done. And Dr. Watson is a Mrs. Watson, who is a retired actress whose husband was Dr. John Watson before he passed away. And this whole series is so good. And we have a new book coming out in June, and I cannot wait. I've actually been contemplating rereading the whole series before the next book because I love them and I haven't reread them in a long time. I think the last time I reread the whole series was right before Murder on Cold Street came out, and Kate Redding does the audiobooks and she's just like the perfect Charlotte. Okay, back to fantasy. Move the plant out of the way. So on this shelf, excuse you, get out of the way. Okay. We have the Over the Woodward Wall series, which is I guess a spin-off series from Middle Game. This is the children's book that is referenced in Middle Game. And then obviously I have all of the Wayward Children series. Also, this is like my weird bookish pet peeve is when Tor changes their spine display in a series that is ongoing. And so none of them are going to match because Tor keeps freaking changing their spine display. It's on Murderbot 2 and it drives me bananas. Very Secret Society for like Irregular Witches, which is one of my favorite books the year it came out. I'm sure you know what this is about because people talked about it all the time. And then, of course, my P. Jelly Clark books, which I love. And Only Monster, I need to finish this duology as well because I really liked this one and I need to finish it because it's only 2 books. My Lady Trent series, which I need to keep reading in. This is really what reminding me where I need to keep making progress. And then Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, which I don't have Ocean's Echo because I didn't like it. So I just keep the one I like. I let go of that. I need to keep a whole series. Impulse, especially when I don't like the rest of the series. So I just keep the books I like now. And then Arbor Reality, which won the Ursula K. Le Guin Award last year. And it's a little novella about climate change. It takes place on this island off the coast of Canada, and it's about all these different people in the community who are managing climate crisis. And it spans, I think, like 20 years, so you really get to see the full scope of how people adapt their lifestyles to account for how the climate is changing in the world and what that means for like food production and just the way our lives are organized. And it was really good. Kind of stressful, but hopeful. And then of course my Haunted Mansion print, which if you hadn't figured out from all my Disney books, I'm a big Disney fan. So I am a critical Disney fan. All right, now we're back over to sci-fi. So we have my Cameron Hurley books. Absolutely love her. Empire of Light by Alex Harrow is maybe new adult sci-fi. I absolutely loved this book. This is not to be confused with Alex E. Harrow. This is a different Alex. This one was so good. It's like sci-fi romance. It gave me like Arcane vibes, like the TV show. Are you focusing on the book? I know it's shiny, but come on now. There we go. I really love this, but I don't know that Alex Harrow is writing anymore, which makes me sad because there's supposed to be more books in the series. It says book 1. So, positive thoughts towards Alex Harrow so that they write more books. And then we have one lone Django Wexler over here because all my other Django Wexlers are fantasy. But this is like, what's it called? What's the movie where they have the giant robots? Pacific Rim. If you like Pacific Rim, this is about giant battling robots. Oh my god. Camera, get your act together. Piloted by lesbians. It was great. It was a good time. Becky Chambers lives over here. N.K. Jemisin partially lives over here. Justina Ireland. I love this duology so much. This is like a alternate history with zombies duology. It's great. God, Seven Devils I haven't read yet, but I should. Vanished Birds is one of my favorite books of last year. Spear Cuts Through Water is by Simon Jimenez as well, and I'm super intimidated by it. My manga for Dinosaur Sanctuary lives here. I'm missing 2 because they're loaned out to a friend. And then Salvager series. This is another of my absolute favorite sci-fi series. If you were a fan of Firefly and like that, like not cow, I mean, I know Firefly is cowboys in space, and this isn't necessarily cowboys, but this is basically like found family team on a ship who are kind of doing crime, but doing crime for the right reasons. It's so good. I loved it. I love it so much. All right, and now we're getting into middle grade, complete with our little mouse hole situation. I have my pretty version of The Princess and the Goblins. This animated movie from the 90s scares the crap out of me. I find the art style so disturbing, but I got this at a library sale for I think $1 and read it with the twins when they were pretty little. And I really liked the original story, which is nice because that movie is super creepy. And like the print is so big on this book. Margins are huge. But it was a really fun reading experience with them. And I don't know if I will ever reread it, but I really just keep it for the nostalgia of that reading experience. And then we have the Amari books. God, I'm so excited for book 3 to come out later this year. That'll be a good time. Susan Fletcher. This was like my favorite fantasy series growing up. It absolutely broke my heart. We have Sir Callie. Most of these are mine, to be honest. My taste in middle grade does not align with my kids' taste in middle grade. Though The Rise and Fall of Mount Majestic was a book we found as a read aloud and was beloved when they were little. This is about a girl who lives on this island, and the island starts to move, and it turns out that the castle and the whole kingdom itself was built on the belly of a sleeping giant. And so they have to like keep the giant from waking up and destroying the whole kingdom. And it is quirky and it's so fun. And I really love this author. We have Alone, Louisa May Alcott. I don't want to talk about how an old-fashioned girl is probably horribly problematic because I love it with my whole heart. The Scary Stories for Young Foxes duology, which I really love. Premeditated Myrtle. I'm only buying them in paperback, so it's a slow going. If you liked Secret Society of Irregular Witches, Sangu Madonna also writes middle grade, and it's really great, and the anxiety rep is perfect. Jinxed is my oldest's series. She really likes this one. It's kind of like sci-fi Pokemon. The Oddmeyer trilogy we all really love. This is by an Oregonian author, and it's fantasy, and this was such a good time. It's about twin boys where one of them is a changeling who, when the goblin brought the changeling to leave, he put it into the cradle with the baby and then got distracted. And when he turned back, the changeling had shifted, and the goblin couldn't remember which was the real boy and which was the changeling. And so he just left both of them. And so these boys were raised as twins. And it's such a good series. It's so underrated. And then I have my original copy of Ella Enchanted from when I was in middle school. And man, this book is looking rough, but I love it too much to replace it, and I love this. And no, my children have not read it, and it hurts my heart a little bit every day. Okay, we've switched to handhold because my bookcase got too low, so hopefully I'm not too shaky. Okay, we're back to fantasy. I have my little reading buddies. We have my Illumicrate copy of Song Like Silver, Flame Like Night, which I really liked, and I need to finish the duology. I just haven't gotten to it yet. We have my T. Kingfisher fantasy collection, which I really love. The TJ Klune, which I'm probably going to unhaul because I'm just not feeling TJ Klune as an author anymore. My Mask of Mirrors series. Oh my gosh, love so much. I am missing Goblin Emperor because I'm reading it right now. My Django Wexler. Letters to Have Moon Street. I don't need it. Why is Letters to Have Moon Street but breaking up Django Wexler? That's my question. Okay, that's better. And then Olivia Atwater, C.L. Polk, 2 authors I really love. And then Fit for the Gods. This is a collection of short stories that are Greek mythology retellings that are all a little bit more queer and a little bit more inclusive and a little less horrible than actual Greek mythology. Okay, and here's where science fiction and fantasy start to mix because I'm running out of room for my fantasy books. I have the Cute Mutant series, which I've talked about before, but this is a YA series. You have to multitask now. But this is a YA series where all these characters go to a party and they kiss the same girl, and then they wake up in the morning and they have mutant powers, but they're like weird mutant powers. I have not read Genesis of Misery yet. I haven't read A Strange Endurance yet. I have read One Dark Window and I need to finish it. So I just bought this over the weekend because I think the only way I'm going to read it is if it's on the shelf. Shaming me, but I do need to reread One Dark Window because I read it before release and I don't really remember. Also, why is this so much chunkier? Sarah Pinsker I haven't read yet. I've read her short fiction, but I haven't read her novel yet. My slowly growing Chloe Gong collection, Jasmine Throne collection, which Oleander Sword is on my TBR for this month. So fingers crossed I get to it. And then of course, 2 of the Scapegracer books. I do have book 3, but it's in my stack of books that I've read for this month. And then my Olivia the Pig quote. You know, you really wear me out, but I love you anyway. Which, if that is not the theme for my family, the motto for my family, I don't know what is. All right, and then here's middle grade again. This is more... Did I organize these? I feel like at one point I had them by genre, but I think I ditched that. So we have a big mix of fantasy and realistic fiction. A Wish in the Dark is one of my favorites. This is a Thai-inspired Les Mis retelling. It's absolutely excellent. One of the best middle grade I've ever read. I have the new Alana covers and hardcover. I don't know why I got them in hardcover. My UK cover of Howl's Moving Castle, which I think is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Speaking of Zoraida Cordova, this is her middle grade book that I love. Oh, this is a very underrated middle grade book. Magic Marks a Spot. This is the very nearly honorable League of Pirates. This is about a girl, what's her name? Oh, named Hillary, who applies to the very nearly honorable League of Pirates to become a pirate. And they're like, yeah, sure. And then they realize she's a girl and go, oh, never mind. Girls can't be pirates. And then she sets on a quest to prove them wrong. Ooh, and she has a talking gargoyle, and it's delightful. And it's a trilogy. Oh yeah, I have my Jacqueline Moriarty series. I'm behind on this one too. Patricia C. Reedy's newest middle grade book, and then my Vanderbeekers collection. All right, this is gonna be awkward. Wish me luck. Very bottom shelf. We're back to fantasy. We have all of our our Garth Nix books. This is a mix of mine and my husband's. So I think I've read almost all of them. My Samantha Shannon books. I've read Priory. I haven't read Day of Fallen Night yet. The rest of the N.K. Jemisin collection, which is on my list this year to finish reading her backlist. I just have to read this duology and then I'm done. Our OG copy of Night Circus that we bought in the 2010s. Zombies versus Unicorns. Okay, this one is underrated and it's really fun. It's a short story anthology collection edited by Holly Black and Justine. I don't know how to say the last name. Anyways, I don't know who that is. Anyways, so one editor was Team Zombie, one editor is Team Unicorn, and then each of the YA authors that contributed had to pick a team and write a story about whatever they pick for their team, and then they alternate, and it was really fun. And this was this cover is atrocious though, but this was before Holly Black was Holly Black. She hadn't published, what's it called, whatever her series is called that everyone loves. And then we have my little teeny tiny Garth Nix mass market paperbacks that don't really fit anywhere. And then moving over, we have a Garth Nix spillover. It's one sci-fi book. We have Alex White's most recent release, which is Space Opera. It's this one. I love how unapologetically pink this is. It's so obnoxious, and I love it so much. Honestly, the bottom shelves are a little bit of a hodgepodge because they're the ones that really aren't seen in the back of videos or anything. So you can see where we cut out for the electrical. But Nino Chipri is down here, which Finna and Defect are one of my favorite novella. We have Alex White's Alien book, which I really want to read. We have this duology by Alex Wells that I need to finish. We have all of our A. Lee Martinez books, who, I'll be honest, my husband and I were super into him in the late aughts and the early 2010s. I don't know if his books are problematic now. I have been too scared to go back and reread them because I really just don't want to know. And then we have my husband's Ann Leckie books, and just some odds and ends that I don't really know where else these books should go. My one Anna Lee Newitt's the Tensrit series, Trail of Lightning. I have my other Rebecca Roanhorse books are in our bedroom because I love them so much. And Cloud Cuckoo Land, which I still haven't read. And then I have the Illumicrate version of The Book Eaters, which I really, really liked. It's like a vampire retelling, except the vampires in this book eat books instead of blood. And then here's the last middle grade shelf. So we have Liddy, which was my favorite historical fiction as a kid. I took the cover off because it was falling apart. But this is about a girl who works in a factory in Appalachia, I think. And then Jefferson's Sons, which is also historical fiction, which is very, very good about slavery from the point of view of the children Thomas Jefferson had with Sally. Oh, I forgot her last name. And then we have the Sinister Summer series, which I think you all know I love. The Clackety, which I also like. The Aru Shah series, which is one of my favorites, especially like if you are reading a lot of mythology inspired middle grade. Like I highly recommend Aru Shah because it just breaks up all the Greek mythology retellings, and I think it's just Aru is a really fun main character. And then just some also random standalone or first in a series middle grade fantasy. I have Melissa by Alex Gino, and of course the Nevermore series. So yeah, so that's the whole massive collection of books. I will show you the shelf in my bedroom real fast. Okay, so if you've watched my videos in here, you've seen this shelf before, but this is mostly my absolute favorite shelves. So I have Sorcery of Thorns duology, maybe. Is that what we're calling it? Which I love, but I haven't read Vespertine yet, which I think is about like killer nuns, maybe. And then Legendborn, which I love, but I haven't read Bloodmarked yet. You're noticing a theme. I can never remember what this series is called by Rebecca Roanhorse, but the third book is coming out soon, which means I should probably reread those. All of my Veronica Speedwell that I own, and then all the S.A. Chakraborty books that I own. Oh, and one shelf I forgot to show you is, this is normally like our board game shelf. We keep board games here, but this is also where ARCs go to die. Not on purpose. This is just where I decided I was putting ARCs, and then the board games go up in front, and I forget I have them. These are all in my TBR jar, so eventually I will read all of them, but none of those are read yet. I'm probably most excited about reading Sharkheart, which I've heard really good things about. Wannabe, which is... Oh, hi. I need it fast. Jeez. Wannabe, which is nonfiction, like about the time period where I was a teen. So, like, this pop culture is specifically targeted at me. And then some fantasy, YA... romance, fantasy, romance. So yeah, you get the idea. All right, we didn't quite beat the Wednesday lawn care ASMR. It was close, but not quite. Anyways, so those are the books that we have in our house. We have a lot. At one point, the kids decided they were going to count, and they got through these shelves in the living room and through part of one of the bookshelves in the back, and they were at 1,000 and they gave up. We obviously have a lot, and maybe too much, but you know, this is very much our family culture, is being a family of readers, and we spend a lot of time doing it, and we're good rereaders, so you know, it's okay. I feel like this is a good investment in, I don't know, things. What are words? I've been talking for so long, I think I've talked out. Plus I taught this morning, so really I only have so much capacity for words, and I really think I'm at the tail end of what I'm capable of. So those are our books. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on rainbow shelves, because I know people have feelings. I might do a video in June when I just switch everything over, because that's always kind of fun to go through and reorganize everything and shake up how I have things displayed. I also use it as an excuse to like switch out some of the decorations I have on the bookshelves, so it's always a good time for me. Except for the halfway mark where I get tired and then I regret my choices, but you know, the beginning and the end is great. Middle not so much. I forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, yes, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I feel like this is just getting worse the longer I talk. So I will talk to you all in the next one. Bye!